Hello, and welcome to this presentation on publishing your research. My name's Sue Heal, and I'm a subject librarian at Murdoch University. The purpose of this presentation is to help you decide where to publish and to determine a publisher's integrity. The presentation is delivered in 3 parts. In part 1, we'll look at the steps to take before submitting your manuscript and methods for evaluating publishers and publications. Before we continue, I'd like to draw your attention to this library guide to publishing, which is available for further reading at the link on the screen. Before submitting your manuscript, you'll need to consider your intended audience and find appropriate publishers and publications. In order to do this, you'll want to become familiar with tools that identify publications in your area of research. Examples of these will include Ulrich's, the Directory of Open Access Journals, etc., and these will be covered in part 3 of this presentation. To increase the probability of your research being read, you'll need to evaluate the quality of various publishers and publications, as some will be above board and others will not. In part 2, we'll look at the option of open access publications, and in part 3, we'll consider the role of impact metrics to help you assess well-known publishers in your field. In this section, we will also consider means of identifying unethical publishers. You'll want to ensure you've found the best fit for your article, as well as becoming familiar with what particular publications are read in your field, as this will increase your exposure. Your discipline will influence which format you decide to publish in. Traditionally, humanities research is published in books and chapters, whilst science is published in article and chapter format. Medical sciences and engineering papers, on the other hand, are often found in conference publications. In the process of identifying ethical publishers, there are a number of checks that can be made. You can check, for example, whether their offices can be located on a map, whether they have city offices. You can check whether the publisher is a member of a recognised industry association. For example, the Committee on Publication Ethics. Lots of academic publishers belong to this committee. You could also check whether you know anyone on the editorial board. Do they provide details, and can you look them up to check their credentials? Further steps to be taken in identifying ethical publishers include checking copyright and licensing conditions. Publishers with integrity are very clear about these. They will also have clear policies on potential conflicts of interest. Unethical publishers often aim direct marketing at early career researchers or PhD students, when this is more appropriate for middle and late career researchers. If you are subject to this type of marketing, you may ask how they got your contact details. Fees for publication usually apply in the open access arena. Be aware, however, that some unethical publishers will present as open access and therefore charge. The Directory of Open Access Journals maintains a list of genuine scholarly open access journals. It pays to be wary of the following: Vanity and unethical publishers and hijacked publications. Again, they often target early career researchers and PhD candidates. We will look at these publishers in more detail. Vanity publishers frequently prey on developing and Eastern European countries, gathering as many contacts as possible from websites and conferences. They rarely undertake peer review and copy editing practices, and there's a tendency to pocket all the fees charged to authors for selling the book, with little, if anything, going back to the author in the form of royalties. Some notorious ones to be wary of are Peter Lang, Edwin Mellon Press and Omniscriptum, previously VDM. Unethical publishers usually peddle professional-sounding titles and websites, and again, there's no peer review or editorial support. Authors pay hefty fees when oftentimes a paper isn't put up at all, or a journal doesn't even exist. The names of unsuspecting researchers may be used on editorial boards, researchers who may have nothing to do with the journal whatsoever. Hijacking practices are often characterised by the use of counterfeit websites, publications and conferences, and the soliciting of manuscript submissions for a hijacked publication or conference, accompanied by the charging of high publication or attendance fees. It often takes time for the activity to be discovered, and there have been cases of presenters arriving at conference venues, having prepaid fees, flights, etc., only to discover there is no conference. Fortunately, there are tools which allow researchers to check a publisher's validity. 4 of them are listed here, and it's highly recommended that you use these sources to check any potential publisher. If you have further questions, please seek help from our online Ask Our Librarian service at the link on the screen. And if you require more in-depth research support, please make a consultation appointment with your own subject librarian. Thank you for your attention, and please be reminded that this presentation is continued in parts 2 and 3.